We're doing okay.
To be fair, you started off with Frank Bruno against Joe Budden.
Yeah.
What was that,
87? October 87. I didn't know what I was doing. Just fluked it, really. I promote on passion. Sometimes it works. That one worked. But the level now, boxing's gone beyond my... when you talk about dreams, I'd never dreamed that boxing could be as big as it is now. And Eddie, my boy, has done an unbelievable job where, frankly, there's no one at his level. I mean, life and sport's about levels. You operate at the level the highest level you can operate on. In boxing at the moment, Eddie's operating at a level where if any of the competition rose to his level, they would run out of oxygen, because it's a new world, and darts is a new world for televised sport as well. It's not just about dreams, it's about logistics, it's about having the right team with you, it's about having people share the vision and have the work ethos that you have, and then it can work, and that's what's happened with a lot of the sports we've been involved in.
And then he's also had the fights, hasn't he? I mean, Anthony Joshua is a promoter's dream, isn't he?
You don't get bigger. He's the number one heavyweight in the world. He's the real world champion. He's a magnificent ambassador for sport and for this country. And he can fight. He inspires. I mean, the duty of all sportsmen is to inspire other people to follow in your footsteps, to change their life, to live the right type of life. Anthony Joshua ticks a lot of boxes, but above all, he's a wonderful boxer.
Yeah, absolutely, and he gives entertainment, doesn't he? How do you see his next 2 or 3 fights panning out?
Goodness knows. I mean, Joshua calls the shots, and it's difficult for other fighters to understand that, because everyone feels that they're important in their own world. But we live in a commercial real world, and Anthony is a huge commercial draw around the world, and obviously earns money at a level that other fighters don't experience. But the heavyweight division is alive and very well and active, and Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury and Dylan White, Derek Chisora, not to mention Alexander Usyk when he moves up to heavyweight. You look at... I don't think Parker's finished yet. I think he's got more so it's a really vibrant, and everyone is going to do well out of it. As Rockefeller said, every deal ends up with a piece of bread in everyone's mouth. And the money being generated in the heavyweight division is unsurpassed in history, and you never want to lose, but it's not the end of the world if you lose, because you're part of this very exciting division that people around the world want to watch. So Joshua is the leader of the pack, but he's the leader of the pack until someone dethrones him, and that can happen in heavyweight division with one punch.
Absolutely. I mean, is this similar to sort of the Ali, Frazier, Norton, Shavers people?
Well, it is, but with more money. With a lot more money. I mean, these type of fighters earn what they thought was good money, but in this world of pay-per-view and pay television, digital applications, commercialisation, ticket prices, it's gone to another level, and they're very fortunate. So much about success is being in the right place at the right time, and heavyweights are in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you're convinced, obviously, Joshua's the number one heavyweight in the world at the moment, then, Barry?
Oh, there's no one to get close to him. I mean, I love the controversy. I love the other fights being mentioned. I think, everyone needs someone to fight. And in my view, Joshua is head and shoulders above every other heavyweight in the world. And until he gets beaten, I will maintain my view. But you never know what's going to happen in sport. There's always question marks. The two fighters who've boxed really quite well lately, which surprised me how good a fight it was Fury and Deontay Wilder. Fury can't fight. Deontay Wilder can't fight, but he can punch. Fury can fight, but he can't punch. So both of them are top of my shopping list for Joshua, who can fight and can punch. Now, and that doesn't mean to say we're not allowed rehearsals in boxing. Anything can happen on the night. But what it means is that Anthony Joshua is very keen to fight either of those two. Should they be available, which I doubt they will. I think they'll go and fight each other and hope that the winner gets a big payday against Joshua. But in the meantime, you have to understand, Joshua is a long-term project. He's not looking at making his money in 6 months.
Yes.
He's looking at being involved in the sport for 6, 7, 8 years. So there's no rush for us, and we'd love either of them on April the 13th, and we'll get what God gives us.
Yeah, that's what Eddie said that the other week, didn't he? He said everybody wants to see Anthony Joshua fight Wilder or Fury next. He said, but we've got 5 or 6 years to make these fights happen.
Well, I mean, I'd like him straight away because technically I like both fights for Joshua. I think it's... you can't say Joshua is a shoe-in, but in my world, Joshua is an enormous favourite because I think technically he's better than those two fighters, and that's my judgment, and I could be wrong. So I wouldn't put any obstacles in the way of making either of those fights. But if they're not available, there's not much you can do. So, then we look around and see whether it's Dylan White, how does he get on Saturday? Derek Chisora, does he pull an upset? Gerald Miller in New York, who's sells out Madison Square Gardens. I mean, we've got a lot of options, and basically, although traditional fans don't like to hear it, boxing is a money business, and our job is to look after the fiduciary side of our responsibilities to a fighter, which is maximising his earnings. That's what we're paid to do, and that's what we do better than anyone in the world.
Of course. And I mean, people like Gerald Miller, they're great characters as well, aren't they?
Gerald will be there Saturday night. He's a fun guy. He's a big lump, I mean, I'm not...
Big baby.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you can actually hurt him to the body because he's got so much body. I'm not sure he actually gets through to that missing rib. No, he can fight. Listen, they're all dangerous. I don't know a 16, 17, 18 stone man, let alone a 30 stone man, that's not dangerous. I just think that Joshua is the pick of the bunch, and as I say, until he gets beat, I'm right.
I mean, did you when Eddie? Did you try and talk Eddie out of taking on the boxing? Is that right? When he first. No,
his mother didn't want him to do it, not me.
Oh, right.
His mother's seen the price you have to pay to be involved in boxing. It's a dirty sport, a lot of the time, dealing with people that you wouldn't have in your house. But it's also the most exciting sport in the world when you get it right. When Eddie said to me, when Eddie started with me, he ran the poker division first. Then he moved on and ran the golf division. I think it was that way around. And then he just came and said, Dad, I've always wanted to be in charge of the boxing. And I said, well, away you go, because I found it quite difficult and tedious. Didn't like some of the people in the business. And also I was set on building a bigger picture in terms of the company size, which was diversifying into 13 different sports, and I found that very exciting. So Eddie taking over the boxing has been a God bless to me. I mean, because he's much better than me, number one. And two is he's got the energy that perhaps I didn't have anymore. So my energy's better, fails on snooker, pool, golf, darts, obviously.
Of course, one of your big boxing success stories was Chris Eubank Sr, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you make of his son, Barry?
I think his son's very good. I don't think he's been managed very well by his father, which is a shame. I don't think they listen to sense. One hopes they see sense before it's too late, but he's not a little baby anymore. His father was a great fighter, no question. And I think the son's got a tremendous amount of ability, but perhaps needs a little more control and direction in his career.
Okay, do you think they need a bit of an outside sort of influence, do you think?
Maybe a little bit stronger than an influence.
Really, yeah. Because
they need to be led and directed. Eubank was led and directed in a way that he thought the decisions were his, and that's why we got on so well. But Eubank Jr is living the worst part of his father's alter ego, and this is a tough business, and you don't get second chances. He's had 2 losses, which was both avoidable in my view. And I think the kid can fight. I think he can really fight, but he can't punch properly yet, and he needs to be taught by people that he will listen to.
Yeah, I mean, he was exposed a little bit by George Groves,
Totally involved. And he was exposed before that by
Billy Joe.
By Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah. I mean,
for the first 6 rounds.
Yeah, he came on, didn't he? But I mean, the Groves fight, sort of like, there was no jab, there was no
nothing.
Footwork, wasn't there? Was there?
Nothing. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you teach yourself. Trainers are there for a reason. I mean, great fighters make trainers great, not the other way around. But a great fighter listens to experienced trainers and learns from it. And Eubank is no better fighter now than he was after 10 pro fights, and he should have made more progress, in my view. And listen, I've never been in a professional ring in my life, so what do I know? But I'm just giving you my honest opinion. I think the kid can fight, and I think he's got huge potential, tremendous hand speed, not enough power on the front foot. I think he's got a great chin like his dad. He has all the ingredients. He could be a superstar, but where is he? He's going to fight James DeGale next sometime, somewhere.
That's what we're hearing, yeah.
What is that for? What does that mean?
Well, it's a grudge fight, isn't it? They had a fallout, but I mean, he thinks DeGale's finished, presumably, doesn't he? And it's
I think DeGale is not going forward, but he still can fight a bit. But what is it? I don't know what it achieves. Does it sell out? Does it do pay-per-view numbers? You know, I mean, to be honest with you, there's better fights. Now would be a good time for him to fight Golovkin.
Well, it was on the cards before, wasn't it?
It was on the cards with us, but then it was all talk. And we don't have time to talk too much. We have to move. So we had lots of discussions which led nowhere, and after a while, time is the only thing I'm going to run out of.